So I have a Dell power supply here, or well, the inside of one. And then I also have this Dell motherboard. Both of these came out of a Dell Dimension 4700, which I was going to put Linux on and just do some testing around and playing with some of this old hardware. I tried to power it up and it did not power on. Upon further investigation, the reason is, well, this may not be the reason why it's not powering on, but if you see that capacitor right there, let me get something to play with. If you see this capacitor right here, it is, well, it was bulging. I kind of pushed it down to just see if something spilled on there, but the insides were kind of coming out, its guts. And then there was this one right here, and its insides were coming out as well. Now, those two are Nichicon capacitors, and there are some other Nichicon capacitors on here that did not. And at first I was kind of worried. I was like, well, Nichicons typically don't do that. But this computer at work was completely packed full of dust. Like, this is not even a comparison. If you take a look at the power supply, there's still some of the dust that you can see in the fan. I mean, that's not even, I mean, that's way better than it was. So what is the other thing that I'm doing is, because it wasn't powering on, I was taking a look on the inside of the power supply, and that inside capacitor, which is a Leon or something like that. I think it's it's Leon capacitor, and the inside of it is, you can see how it's bulging and the guts are coming out. So what I'm going to be doing is, there's another Nichicon capacitor here that I'm going to move here because of the PCI slot. It's small enough to put here, and then I'm going to replace these two with values that I got out of the power supply that are still good. And I don't even know what these are. These are OS. Focus on me, not the thing. OST. Yeah, OST capacitors. So yeah, I'm going to get those replaced, and we're going to see if it powers up. Oh, and then I also have a power supply to, this I'm just going to use for parts. I have a newer power supply than that I'm going to use. So as you can see, I got that capacitor installed there. Alright, focus. That's just the leftover glue from the power supply. But there's the one between the PCI and PCI Express slot. That one I just took some leads and laid it down. And on that one I did the same thing, not because it was too long, but for some reason I just could not get the leads to go through the hole. No matter how hard I tried, it wasn't going to happen. So I just took some wire and laid that one down as well. But if you notice, plug into a monitor cable, goes across and plugs in, and voila, I am running Puppy Linux on a Pentium 4 hyper-threaded processor. Right now it just has 2 gigs of RAM. Those are 512 each. The reason I was doing this is because I have another computer down there, which is you can't really see it, it's underneath my desk, but it's an eMachine. I think it's just a Pentium D, and it's actually slower than this Pentium 4. Not quite sure why. They're rated at the same exact, or they're both 2.8 gigahertz. So I was just playing around with some distros that are geared towards more older computers, and I'm really liking Puppy Linux. I think I might use it as my main operating system out here in the garage until I can get something better. But having a beastly computer out here in the garage wasn't that much of a priority since my main computer is a beast, and I've been spending a lot of money on capacitors, which you'll see in some upcoming videos. But yeah, this is a Dell Dimension 4700. The only problem, yeah, whoever had this, and the reason those capacitors are blue is because this thing just looked like, I mean, it looked like a cat, somebody threw a cat inside here, and just, it was horrible. And it took probably a good 30 minutes blowing this thing out. Actually, at work, I ended up taking the motherboard out and brushing it off to get all the dust and stuff off. But yeah, and I have a couple of power supplies that will, if that one turns out not to work. So yeah, I'm just gonna play around with some Linux distros here, take a look and see how it pans out. So here's something funny that I wanted to show you guys. This monitor is hooked up to the eMachines, which is running a Pentium dual core 2.8. It's not really, it wasn't called a Pentium dual core, it was called a Pentium D, which was just a dual core. But here's SunSpider. It's got an 836 on the score, and that's SunSpider 1.0.2. And then here's the Slack or Puppy Linux, got 716 on a older, supposed to be slower processor. And just as a reference, here's my phone, and my phone scores a 476. So yeah, it's and as for reference, my computer scores like a 70, which is ridiculous. But anyways, the lower the number, the better the score is supposed to be. I'm gonna run, what was the other one that they had? Nope, Jetstream. I'm gonna run Jetstream on these. Start test. Gosh. So, of course, I could just try the Puppy Linux on this computer and see if it's any faster. So, I think that's what I'm going to do next. So, here is the Jetstream. That sounds like a cool benchmark. Jetstream. No, this is Jetstream. It is a 42.622 score. And that was on the Pentium 4 processor, and then this is the Pentium D. This one scored higher because up here it says bigger scores are better, and this scored a 44.9. But the thing is that this one has an integrated graphics card, so I think Jetstream takes advantage of that. And then on my phone, it just kind of failed because, well, first of all, this is an ARM-based processor versus the desktop ones. So I'm going to take the jump drive, I'm going to plug it into my Pentium D processor, and I'm going to try Puppy Linux on that one and see what the score is. So I got Puppy Linux running on the dual core, and on SunSpider it scored a 615. So the dual core is faster. But I may actually end up sticking with the other board just because it has more slots for RAM, and this board does not. So let's go back and run the Jetstream benchmark.